and friends and family.
It's all about sharing a feast and cheers.
It's always been happy cause the children are dear.
It's all about peace every time of the year.
If only I could see your face again, not behind the screen at the other end.
If only we could party, kick back your boots, just let me.
Wishing Christmas time, we be together.
It's all about the family. It's all about TNC. What? It's all about the family. Don't fret, don't sweat. You know what it is, cause you know and I know we'll be together
We're
again.
going together to be together. It's Christmas time once again, and you know how we'll begin. Spread love and receive blessings from above.
If only I could see your face again, not behind the screen at the other end. If only we could party, kick back your boots, just let me.
Wishing Christmas time, we'd be together again.
Wishing Christmas time, we'll be together again.
The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new. I am Nato Agbayani, streaming live from Calbayog City here in Samar.
Kini si Edward Ligas. Live from Mandawi City.
You're watching Para sa Bayan Season 1, Episode 8. We'll be right back. Good evening. Good evening mga para sa bayan na viewers. Hi Edward, kumusta?
Hello. Mayong gabi diha nato ug mayong gabi sa ato mga televiewers sa Pilipinas ug sa nationwide sa tibuok kalibutan.
Absent ang atong friend na si Professor Girlie Amarillo. Nasa barn daw.
Very busy campaigning for Bistik.
So anyway, magandang mayong gabi sa inyong tanan, and then we have with us no less than honorable, of course, Edgar Sarmiento. He is the chairperson or for the Transportation Committee in the House of Representatives. We are here live for the first time by namantang live na show sa diri sa residence ni Congressman Edgar Sarmiento. Sir,
Wow.
welcome and good evening.
Thank you, Nato. And welcome to the city of Calbayog, the
Yes,
first
sir.
district of Samar. Salamat sa inyong pagbisita diri.
Thank
Maayong
you,
gabi
sir.
diha, Congressman.
May gabi sab sa imo, Edward. O sa inyong tanaw na minaw ni programa na to.
So, Bay, if it's okay with you, I will ask the first question. No?
Okay,
So,
it's okay with me.
Kong, before you became a congressman, what were you doing? What was your life like?
Well, we own a construction firm, Nato. It's a AAA construction firm based in
Wow.
Manila.
Oh,
It's a general contractor which was owned by my father. It started in the 1974 circle. So one of the first firms in the field of construction. After which, when my father died, I acquired the company from him, from a single firm and turned it into corporation. It's making good. Finally, the appeal of my brother for me to take over the seat that he wants to leave because he accepted the portfolio as ILG, or the Secretary of Interiors and Local Government. I never wanted to be in this field as a public servant because I was happy then as a private in the field of construction. I'm a civil engineer by profession, by the way.
so, Bay, civil engineer by profession, si Kong.
Yeah,
No?
civil engineer. Tapos
So,
ang ilang pamilya on construction business, right?
so Bay, I'll have my follow-up question. Then,
Okay,
take over, ha? So,
Okay, no problem.
how is life different now? Before you were into the construction business, now you are a congressman, of course, leading the transportation committee or chairing the transportation committee. How different is your life now?
In terms of change of life, it's a big change for me because, of course, having my own resources, traveling is not an issue on my part. But becoming a public servant, I have to exercise as one real public servant because I'm paid by the people. So I have to change my lifestyle from somebody blessed by something in life. I have to practice one as a public servant. That's why before every time I travel, seems to me that there's an assistance on my part. But as a public servant, I have to do things on my own. Acquire a seat in an aircraft or airplane, and that's the economy seat rather than
Right.
sitting in the business class because I don't want to be misinterpreted Nato, that I'm using government resources.
Bay, we were in the same plane going to Calbayog, and indeed, pare, he was in the economy class. I was thinking, sabi ko, dapat business class, congressman di ba? But lo and behold, pare, he was there with us, lining up. I think Congressman Paul Dasa was also there, no, lining up as well. So, I mean, very rare man mga congressman na makita mo na hindi na nagla-line up, no? Usually VIP section, no? Dire-diretso. O sige, bye. Over.
VIP section
turn.
sige, VIP section tapos ano yun sa mga business class, di ba? Congressman, mga usually. Pero Congressman, sino ba yung nag-post na mag-enter ka sa politics na yung maganda naman yung business niyo sa construction?
Ingan reward, ang agsuon ko na po, he started as a vice mayor of the city of Calbayog, then a three-termer mayor. Then finally, last 2010, they shifted position with the incumbent congressman, and he ran for the he ran for mayor, and my brother ran for Congress. That's then finally, he was given the opportunity by the leadership then might be appointed as the next Secretary of the Interiors and Local Government. And that was the time my brother encouraged me if I can first transfer back to the residency here in Calbayog and run as a public servant. This is where a lot started. No? I never told my brother that I'm willing to do so, but sigihan ko nagbalik ward sa Cebu, no? Almost on a weekly basis, he has to visit me and appeal to me kung pwede ba nga ako yung usang mulingkod to become a public servant because I was so happy then, no? We finally have to give in to his appeal and the rest is history.
Bago si Mel sa politika. Ganun ba? Ikaw yung nauna na sa politika bago si Mel, yung kapatid mo, yung younger brother mo.
Si Mel,
ang una.
Lord, bali noon, si Mel mo yung nauna. No?
Ah.
Si Mel Usa mo yung nauna. Yeah, diya mo ko Cebu. Well, he was here in Calbayog as again the vice mayor, then finally a three-termer city mayor, and finally a member of the House of Representatives.
Yung yung iba yung politics sa Samar. Paano yung mga Sarmientos na nakasurvive, no? What kind or brand of politics niyo ang dinadala or pinapractice niyo sa Samar dahil matindi ang politika sa Samar area.
Tinood na, Edward, it's so ironic that the brand of politics here is totally different from the brand of politics that we have in either in Manila or in Cebu.
Yeah.
However, I think surviving through the years, the most important thing that my brother did was a good service, a good public servant. And he did also a lot. There is a Calbayog, a lot of changes when he became the mayor. He tried to do something, bring in whatever he sees in Cebu and in Manila. Para di sa mabiyaan po, no? The city of Calbayog will not be left behind. In fact, that time, Guard, Nato, it's so ironic. The city of Calbayog never had a decent mall before. No? Nobody believed there will be an investment finally that will be visiting the city and that will be putting their money here in the city of Calbayog. So, the first mall, katawanan kayo, Edward, the first mall that we had, ang atong kaigsuunan dire, some of our constituents doesn't even know how to ride or how to take an escalator. No? Tawon silang chinilas. No? That's how it is. So, it's a funny thing. Ang uban maghubog sapatos. And finally, because of transfer of knowledge and education in a hinay, they finally realize how good public servants are and true leaders are in bringing something or change to the place. Mo ginay atong lugar dali.
So under your leadership and stewardship, yung mga Sarmiento mismo yung nag-develop, no, until now yung Calbayog City.
Of course, it's a combination of all the leaders. Of course, the vice mayors, the councils of the city, Tinabangay, the time of the House of Representative member, Iningoy, everybody helped in changing the place. However, there was one thing, there was just an issue before, circa, of course, 2010, before and maybe before that, before I became a public servant, about, it's a notorious thing about the city of Galbayog. No? I will not deny this, about the killings. This is the only problem that we had. And never knew about this. Okay? This is the brand of politics that we want to avoid. No? Okay? We do believe that the democracy is earned by allowing the constituent to vote for the leaders that they want. So, diri panagsa wa maguna masunod, no? Igno na lang nato. So, constant ang killings. And when I learned about this, and this was only in 2016, mind you, I did try to do something about it. But so ironic, with all the killings we had way back, which was allowed because nobody complained that to everyone. This is the root of all these things. What yun reklamo, they just allowed the killings, and finally it became a norm. No? Hadlok ng tanan. So when I became a public servant of 2016, the first thing I did was to write right away a letter, which I learned and practiced in my private life as the owner of a construction firm, to consistently write and continuously write the office of the president, the secretary of local government, Secretary Anyo, and President Duterte, to help put a stop on the political killings in Samar. But there was just one issue. There was no evidence. Nobody was filing the case. This should go until such time that finally, Edward, no? So sad to know, last March 8, only March 8, when our mayor was murdered. That was finally the breakthrough that we needed. Kay didto sa iyang pagpatay, nakit-an yun nato who the culprits are.
Wow. So,
So last question na
yes, yes, go ahead, go ahead.
ang Samar na ilang usas mga taguan na no ug diha usay ubay-ubay ang mga sakop sa ang armed component sa Communist Party of the Philippines nga mao ang New People's Army. Until now naana pero nag-reduce sila. Giunsa man ninyo sa mga leaders diha sa Samar?
Ang number one yun nga solution gihatag nato because that time we have to accept no historically when the Marcoses was ousted, of course there were officers in charge. This was circa of 86. One of those really that was the root that was the problem. Ang insurgency taas gyud kayo. In fact, I was telling Nato that the insurgencies before no only 2 kilometers from the city of Calvario Guard naa natay NPA.
Duula ra no.
Suddenly this change kay government was finally coming into the picture. Hinahinay through education, information dissemination, hinahinay. Plus the support of the armed forces gradually, the New People's Army, the strength hinahinay to natin na hinahinay na labang. There was still a continuity. Even up to now, we still have an issue about insurgency, but through reform of government, poverty alleviation, these are the things that we really need. No? Mawagtang magini, but it will not happen overnight. And this is, for a fact, Edward, and Nato, this is one of the longest insurgencies problem in the world, internal conflict that we had. 60 years, in fact, in the making.
Yes.
Nato, ikaw ba?
Oh, namang trivia before we go into the issues like transportation, how we will unite the country, no? Alam mo ba na si Congressman Sarmiento walang absent sa Kongreso?
Wow, ha?
Perfect attendance.
Tagsara na ha? Mura sa among congressman kaniadto sa North District sa Cebu City si anhing Congressman Raul Dilmar. Perfect
Sakto na.
attendance also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Attendance.
Classmate sa perfect attendance. Like, before I go into the questions of the transportation, dagan man tang comments no from our viewers. So, meron tayong mga comments from watching from sila Rona Rose Salem, sila Sandra Palomares, watching from different parts of the Philippines, no. So, we're glad that people are watching. Ayan, Beverly Camacho, watching para sa Bayan on TNC. So, karon now we'd like to go into the issues. For example, sa transport, no. Nung nag-istoryahan we found out sa there is this plan, no. There is this plan in Samar, and of course to connect before kasi 'di ba merong nautical highway yung kay Girlie pa, the nautical highway, but this time I think with the leadership of Kong Edgar, there is a plan, no, to connect the islands of Samar, Leyte, and then with the Bicol, I think. Sir, please tell us more about it.
Nato, Eduard, the country, we have 3 nautical highways.
Yes.
This is the Western Nautical Highway. Of course, from Batangas, you hit Mindoro, then Katiklan, all the way to Dipolog. No? Now, we also have the Central Nautical Highway. This will be access and passes to Cebu. No? Then finally, the Eastern Nautical Highways. And this is that connects Matnog, Samar, Southern Leyte, Surigao. We had our first congressional nautical highway inspection, and this has happened last March of 2017. That's where I learned that the roads that we had in the country are now beautiful roads. Yes, all widened 4 lanes, cemented, concreted, and asphalted. Now, inspecting the roads, definitely there's one thing that we really want to happen to connect the entire grid line of the country, the 3 major provinces, the province of the island of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Now, the only way to do that, and this happened as a gift to us by the Japanese, was the circa of 70s. When San Juanico Bridge was built by the Japanese as a gift to us that connects the island of Leyte and the island of Samar. That's roughly around 3 kilometers of bridge. Now, during our inspection, I noticed really how important the bridge is. Why? Ani Mangun Edward, no, the country is visited by a minimum of 24 cyclones annually. Every year. So, if there's a typhoon, putol ginatanan ang
Ah,
tanan passage of cargoes, no?
sakto.
Goes to Manila and Mindanao, vice versa. We want to change this landscape because there is a huge economic losses every time signal number 1 is declared. Automatic pang na what na imubaya yung barko.
Yeah.
That's why we propose to the president the possibility of building a bridge that will connect Matnog to northern Samar. This is around 18 kilometers of bridge.
Okay.
Then another bridge that will connect southern Leyte to Surigao.
Para
Wow.
there's sa Mindanao.
Yes. Not only it will be a bridge, beside the bridge will be a railway system as well that will connect the trains from Luzon all the way to Mindanao. Because rail is the cheapest way of transportation.
Transportation.
And mind you
Yeah.
not, the grid line of the country, this is a very small country.
Yeah.
It's around 300,000 square kilometers as compared to China's 9 million or 10 million square kilometers. No, that's why from Luzon to Mindanao, this is only 1,700 kilometers. If we build that bridge, wala na tatay problema. Duro-diretso na lang biyahe. No? So, Samar is 648 kilometers to Manila and 700 kilometers to Davao. It's very short. Now, if you have this bridge, beside that is a railway track. We already have the system, the railway system in Luzon. We should have the railway system in Mindanao, and they are now building the railway system in Mindanao. So, once we have that grid line, dali na lang kayang connectivity.
Connect,
That is the entire plan right now in terms of our railway system.
I think I think it's really important that we connect the entire country. This has been a
Yeah.
long time dream of many presidents, and I think para bang it will be easier to transport, for example, from Mindanao to North Luzon. It's really transportation, no? That will really count. At the end of the day, that will contribute to the economy. What do you think, Bay?
Of course, mas madali natin yung kung mayroon tayong bridge na nagko-connect no from Samar to Manila o sa Mindanao, yung flow ng economic at saka goods and services, di ba, mas madali. Tapos yung mas madaling yung lumago yung ekonomiya ng bansa pag pero may tanong ako kay Congressman, dahil expert siya sa transportation. Nakita
Yes.
kita yung interview mo sa CNN, no? How to address the traffic problem in Metro Manila. Ang sagot ko, dahil nagta-travel din ako sa iba't ibang bansa no, tulad ng Japan. Yun sa Osaka, sumakay ako ng train papuntang Sanday City, malayo na yun, parang rural areas na talaga siya. Tapos nakita ko doon sa mga train nila, mayroong mga parking area na pwede mo yung iiwan yung vehicle mo doon, yung auto mo. Pwede ba yun mangyari sa Pilipinas, Congressman?
It's part of the plan already. No? That's why we need what we call the mass transportation. That's how we want to solve the traffic problem and the congestion in Manila. Kaya ato po gusto, muliyog na mupalit na ng sakyanan. So,
Yeah.
in essence of building more roads,
Yes.
we'll just convert to more cars. No? We really have to focus more on public transportation, and definitely it's defined as a railway system o ang buses. Because if you notice in EDSA, nasulbar pa na ito hinahinay na by providing more volume from the train in EDSA. This is
Yeah.
24 kilometers, Baliko na na to.
balikan.
At the middle of EDSA, you have MRT3. Now, if ever MRT3's asset, no, rolling stocks will be repaired, problema ta.
Yeah.
That's why I encourage the time to use buses beneath or at the side of MRT3. And now you can see now the model that we wanted to happen in Manila. We already have what we call a dedicated lane for the buses.
Yeah.
So this is a
It's really
collective. Yeah, this is a collective effort of the legislative branch of government and the executive branch, Secretary Tugade. When both of us agreed to roll out the EDSA busway. There was only too much Dora Kabulan word and nakita na mo. Remember that COVID-19, the first ECQ we had, that was March 17 of 2020. Then when everything was shut off, that was the opportunity we had, no, to improve. Duha ka bulan, we provided the concrete barriers, and the rest is history. Daghan na nalipay karon. I think there are a lot of people in Manila that are so happy with the dedicated bus lane. They can really see the beauty of mobility by using public transportation system.
I think I'm one of the beneficiaries of that. I live in Metro Manila, and during that time, I think my wife was learning to drive, and sabi niya, oh, it's so nice to drive now in
Yes.
Metro Manila during the lockdown. Now it's back. It's still traffic, but it's very efficient. Yung mga buses, dun sila sa inner lane, and that's really helping a lot. No? So,
Just a
yes.
follow-up question. Dahil
Sure.
nakikita ko rin sa ibang bansa, no, nakikita ko yung mga mass transport system. Ito sa Pilipinas, ang problema natin, meron pa tayong mga jeepneys, di ba? Tapos, kailangan ba natin silang i-phase out gradually, Congressman, para ipatupad natin, atong ipatuman yun ang gitawag na tong mass transport system na tan-aw na ko, mo gi-practice sa gitawag na to ga malambuon o ga mauswagon nga kanang mga nasod.
Lord, on the road rationalization nato, that's where we have to plan everything. Ang atong design gud na a minimum requirement of 8 lanes of roads, no, for the buses to be filled in.
Yes.
Less than that, kung 6 lanes na lang gani, that's where the jeepneys should be filled in. That's the minimum. Either 6 morning estudyohan ginato karon, Lord. This is what we want to study. This is what we call the route rationalization, where the buses will be used, where the jeepneys will be used, where the tricycles will be used. We have to balance this. Okay? The entire Luzon grid line for the rail, sumana natin established all the way to Bicol. Na train. No? So, anytime soon, musugod na siya. Going back to the Asian traffic really and the congestion, ang atong gipangayo karon from the Department of Transportation through the Office of MMDA, no, of diri dapita sa LTFRB as a support, because this is not the work, mind you, of the legislative branch of government. This is an executive function. No?
Executive.
Nindot gani because Secretary Artugad is a very proactive secretary as well. But we need all the brains, we need all the support. Okay, we have to plan this well. No? Now, I requested from them a master plan. We makita ginato all the road links, no, from the circumferential roads in Manila to the radial roads in Manila. Makita na to, even on the 6 lanes, we will try the buses there. So if you know the 6 lane, not only in EDSA, musunod na yung iba na that this will now follow the bus now. If ever the bus are now in synchronized and now rationalized, we will now follow where the jeepneys should be filled in. Kaya di mo po the jeepneys diretso from the jeepney, from where the community are, gamay makalsada, that unong taga dito sa buses. Okay? That's the model. Then once you go down from your point of destination or your residence, masulod magani ka, tricycle na punata. That is the model. However, Nato and Edward, we wanted to cut down the cost. That's why we want, if you notice the modernized jeepneys, these are all top cards. We wanted to make sure that all the fares goes to the company.
Yes.
And we wanted to, this I wrote already a letter to the President and Secretary Tugade and even NEDA on the suggestion that to utilize now the national ID system. This should not only be a foundational ID, but this will now evolve into an e-wallet. Wherein if you are a government employee or a private employee, train up because of this pandemic, much more considering, even if you are not given an increase, but the cost of transportation will be very cheap. In fact, the suggestion is to make the students free in terms of transportation cost. Now, what is the issue now, Nato and Edward? Seems to be a disconnect. If you notice, LTO, you don't have a live fit towards the LTO offices. We want to make sure that all national government offices will now be connected online. Now, if you are apprehended by using fake IDs, automatic or preso ka, because this is prone to abuse. It's so sad to know. You are using fake IDs and everything, but you are not given the due penalty. And that is also, we want to change that by using the model and hoping we can continue this. That's why NATO, we presented in the House a roadmap for infrastructure and transportation that will include all of this. We want to follow what is happening in all parts of the countries, but we don't want to shortchange government. Rather, come up with a good system that will protect the system of government and the private investors, so that all whatever is a projected profit they have, they will wanted to make sure that these are all considered.
Nako. Thank you very much, Edgar. Bye. We have to go into a short break, but when we come back, we will discuss more about the roadmap
Yeah.
for transportation, and towards the end, we will discuss more about Samar and Edgar's vision for Samar. No? So we will go right into a short break, but we will be right back with Para sa Bayan here on TNC. See you later. Araw sa inyong lahat. Ito po si Nato Agbayani ng Para sa Bayan with Paul Phil. So kami po on behalf sa lahat na mga kasama natin, si Ginoong Edward Ligas at si Professor Girlie Amarillo. Nagpapasalamat kami sa inyong lahat sa panonood ng Para sa Bayan. Naway patuloy kayong manood nito At sa aming mga kasama, sila Mayor Aljun Diamante, ang founder ng Polfil, of course, at ang aming Secretary General, si Rudy Cañeda. Naway maging makabuluhan ang ating Pasko. We wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, and we pray that our new year will bring new hope. At ang ating show, magkaroon pa ng mga maraming shows at marami pang mga episodes para makatulong po tayo. At wala tayong ibang masasabi kundi tayo ay tutulong, tayo ay magpapatuloy sa show ng Para sa Bayan with Paul Phil. So, Merry Christmas and have a very happy, happy New Year. God bless you all. Welcome back. You're still watching Para sa Bayan.
Balik tayo sa Para sa Bayan.
Yeah. Don't forget to watch our other shows dito po sa TNC. So, we have the Town Hall, Money and More, Marketplace, Mental Shift, COVID Stories, HR, Hotline, Realty, Realities, YOLO, One Day, Chill and Charity Fridays, Win Within, ang dami, grabe. U-Turn, Women at Work, Market Leader, Danny, The Talk, Puppet Stories, Awesome Day, Cybernext, Well Home, Healthline, After Shift, Couple Goals, Negosyo Home, The Family Business with Nato, Agbayani, Usapang Beauty, TechU, The Fourth Project, Foreign Affairs, Swift, TNC Arena, TNC Express, FH Moms, The Frontline, The Presscon, Networking Live, GFox, Fireside Talk, and of course, don't forget to watch Para sa Bayan with Paul Phil. Okay, boss, we're back. Bye.
Bye, balik tayo, bye. Ngayong gabi pag-usap.
Okay, ang co-host mo dyan, Namang co-host na Iring. Okay. Pero, bye, I'll let you do the next question for Congressman Sarmiento.
Congressman, so itong build program ng gobyerno ay nasa right track tayo?
As what reported by NEDA, out of 132 projects, I think what is completed is 20. Okay, we cannot do this overnight, Manggod Duarte. No? In fact, Nato, I have to thank President Duterte because of political will. Remember, some of the projects, true enough, under build, were carried over, which were never implemented before. In fact, I learned about this in the House when I became now a public servant as a congressman of the 1st District of Samar. There was in fact projects way back 1990s, which were never implemented. They were all there. There were contracts, but they're not. But in fairness now to the president, because again with the hard stand that we have to implement issues and right away should be resolved. Paspas kayo, have the railways, even MRT3. No, if you know this before, it's back to 60 kilometers an hour. That's how it is. We now have a subway that is being implemented. North Terminal is about to be finished. Daghan kayo, and the connectivity from Manila to Clark via railway, Sumanana, and from Clark all the way up to Tarlac. They are now doing the railway track as well. So there are so many projects that we really wanted to start in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
So, second term pa nimo ngayon tumatakbo ka ba, midagan ka ba pag-usab ba, Congressman?
Ikaduhan na ko ning termino, Edward, no? And hopefully that tugutan gyapon ko sa katawhan, no? Tabang sa makagagawom o sa mga katawhan nga ilagyapon ko tagaan sa ikatulong termino kay pagkadaghan na pag yun natong trabahoon, no? Kaya siyempre di man pwedeng ang problema gud aning modawat kag chairmanship, labi na gud bugat nga chairman, because you are not only the representative of the first district, the voice of Samar, ikaw po ang gagunit sa bugos nga Pilipinas sa transportation, tabang mi ni Secretary Tugade. That's how it is once you receive a chairmanship.
Yeah, but I guess I really appreciate and really admire your expertise sa transportation yung nandoon ka sa CNN. ano ba yung dapat gawin na pag-resolve ng traffic sa Pilipinas. Punta tayo sa first district ng Samar. You'll be in the second term if God's permit, no? Ano yung vision mo sa second term para sa first district ng Samar?
Well, on the first term ang Goodward, Nato, nahuman na itong infrastructures. No? The road, in fact, itong roads na 4 lanes na tanan from the north to the south boundary kay dako ba ni Samar. This is the third largest island.
Yes.
The first district comprises around 3,500 square kilometers. Ang apong frontline diri nat is around 110 kilometers. That is from the north to the south boundary. Nahuman na nako halos tanan infrastructures. Ang
Wow.
kulang na lang yun ako, kana akong viaduct o kanang another connectivity nga cross-country road. No? But the airports, the seaports, the main roads, sumana. Ang akong second term will now focus on livelihood. No? In fact, naghuman na miyan ang among roadmap from 2017. We already had what we call the Samar Productivity Challenge for both aqua o agri na to. Nananong na ta, it's not only it should be something that I have to walk the talk. It's not all talks, no. We already started to plant cacao, pilis, because these are endemic in the eastern seaboard, no. So from the Bicol areas to the Samar, puro yun na, it should no longer be coconut. However, the issue then, pag pananom na mo sa pili, this is the first time I learned nga pili day doon ay babayag lalaki. Ito malaki. Ang tinanim ng kapatid ko 7 years back from 2010. So sad to not panay mga lalaki na pili. It's not bearing fruits, no? So we have to change this. So I appealed to Secretary William Dar and Secretary Simato of the NR if they can qualify pili and cacao as trees or varieties for what we call the National Greening Program.
To be part of the entire
program. So ang dami na natin ngayon. In fact, we just had an audit that maybe 3 years from now, they can now earn around 500 million pesos to the farmers. No? And I'm so happy about it. Now, what is lacking now is the variety of shed that we want. Because cacao grows better with shaded. Hindi ko pa. So, what we choose is the variety of banana caldaba. Yung saging na, kanang saging badward nga lutoon. Because there's a huge demand of banana in Australia, and there's a huge demand of this variety in Europe for carbo purposes. Oh yes, that's alternate to rice. That is what we learned. So we finally, it was given an amount by Secretary Dar of the Department of Agriculture. It was downloaded to the Northwest Samar University. Mind you, it's not given to us, no, literally. So it's given to this. Now, the purpose of the fund is to come up with what we call banana tissue culture. This tissue culture is the seeds of the banana. It's very hard to do that. No? So once we have the quantity, it will now be given to the farmers for free. So ilan na itanom, so they will now have the banana to shed the cacao. And we're hoping that the variety of cacao we have is a very good variety. And once we already have the volume, hopefully 5 years from now, it's something we work on roadmap. We can now invite as well players in the chocolate industry to put up a semi-processing plant here in Samar that is part of the roadmap. Now, for aquaculture, remember, I presented this in the plenary and I presented this to the Senate as well. The population of the country in the 1960s was only 29 million.
Yes.
1960 Now, fast forward 2021, we're up to 110 million. Question, how do you food humanity? See, that's why the cost of food right now is expensive because the demand is so high as compared to the supply. The only way for us to answer that is through culture. We pass a House bill. Hopefully, it will become a law, what we call the first ever hatchery here in Samar. The purpose of that hatchery, of course, through artificial insemination. Once you have this hatchery, it will now be through hatchery, nursery, then it will now go to the sea. A model natin yung parang fish cages.
Yes,
The movable fish cages nato that can be transferred. If you have the northern wind coming, we can transfer that to the southern part where there's no tide. There are no big waves. If ever it's habagat or from the south, we can transfer that as well to the northern part. That is the model that we want in Samar because remember, this is 1,700 islands in the 7,100 islands in the countries, and we have 36,000 coastlines. So There's so many places to put supposedly these fish cages
Yes.
for us to grow through culture fishes. This will help a lot word kay mga fisher folks mo musuri gud sa kadagatan. They are not
Mhm.
sure of their harvest.
Right, right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
once we have the culture fishing, it's sure that within the next 2 months or 3 months, doon na naging kayo makuha.
Come to
Pag
think of it, no?
pagkanindot sa imong pagkanindot no from infrastructure tapos sa livelihood, pagkanindot sa imong roadmap, kanang ikaw na po baya nato.
Oo, parang ang realization ko is from ang ganda, I think Kong Edgar is in a unique position, no, to really draw a vision for the entire country, and also to draw a vision for a smaller portion of the country, which is the first district of Samar, and
Samar.
Samar in its entirety, no. Unang-una, yung na-mention ni Kong, talagang this is so much coastal area. And in fact, we went to Cebu in Olango Island. No?
Yeah.
I think si Mayor Ahong is doing, what do you call this, yung culture ng mga agar-agar, yung mga
Yeah.
seaweed. No?
Seaweed.
And then also sa Tuburan, Cebu, we saw the project of Mayor Aljun.
Kape.
No? Aljun sa Tuburan.
Durante.
Yun namang fish cages that he was mentioning. In fact,
Mm.
nag-visit ako dun sa fish cage parang deep sea, parang sabi nga yung Norwegian model,
right.
no? So I think there's so much we can do for the economy, and then if that transport if we have a unified transport roadmap, talagang we can really, kumbaga, we can really serve this country well, no, with public servants with the vision of, and I don't think there's just one of Kong Edgar. There's many public servants out there, congressmen, legislators, even executives na have that ability to really create a future for our country that's really very bright. I think it's just a matter of really aligning
Yan
everyone.
Nato, we wanted
Yes.
to make use word of our island. Balik ko na to, this is the third largest island.
Yeah.
Balanced rainfall in abundance of fertile soil. We wanted to make use of this island Samar as an agricultural hub that can supply the needs of Luzon and some of the areas in the Visayas. Because in Luzon, that's where the populations are. No?
Yes.
So we want to support that population by growing their needs here in Samar, not necessarily in Baguio or Mindanao, pero we have to see as well here in Samar, because we can do that. No, only time is that I have to encourage our constituents, kaignan na po sila, stop planting coconut.
Yeah.
And that because coconut, true enough, this is the tree of life, but
Yeah.
it changes also the lifestyle of the farmers. They become passive. Once they plant the coconut, maghuwat na lang sa harvest, it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
So we want to change that mindset. If you want agriculture, you have to work for that. No? So we really want. There are so many plans in the pipeline, but I don't want that my plans are just planned. I want it to become something that should be productive and change the lifestyle of the fisher folks and the farmers as well.
Come to think of it, if you just rely on coconut, no, even if mag-VCO ka, because yung virgin coconut oil is 500 times the price of copra on a per unit, no, basis. And then if you have improved the agriculture, parang it's also mindset, no, Kong, it's really a challenge for the farmers na
True.
mag-change ng mindset from
Very hard.
the typical planting of rice and corn and copras
Coconut.
to a more progressive agriculture that yung what you were explaining kanina, yung saging o
The farming the model of farming we want, it should be a consolidated farming.
yes.
It should not be individual farming. That is what is happening in our country. That's why we are always doing things manually.
Yeah.
Now we cannot come up with a good production. We have to change the mindset, and the only way for us to do it, it should start from the Department of Agriculture. However, we have an issue right now, Nato and Edward, because please do remember because of Republic Act 7160, the local government code. No?
Good.
The tourism, agriculture, and health, these are not devolved function.
Yes.
But the issue, which is a recurring issue, ningo sila nga, the function was given to the local government units, However, the funding is retained by the national agencies, and there should be a disconnect. So, ningo, ayaw, kung pwede yun we have to change that now. We should have the office of the Department of Agriculture not in Manila, but mind you, in the regions where the province are, where the rice is produced. In fact, I told Secretary Dar, there are only 17 regions. I said, can we quantify on the 17 regions what regions has the strength of farming rice and other products so that we can really balance what we call the farm to market requirement, no?
Right.
Even up to now, so sa tunod nga wala po man nila mahatag. So considering this much more the needs of farmers and how the price difference between planting a rice as just buying an imported rice, we have to change that because we have to make sure that the farmers are given the right price as well once they harvest the rice. And this is happening. We have to make sure that all of these concerns, if we really want to encourage farming, the needs of the farmer should be subsidized by government. Layo kay Tadward, is studying Thailand, why agriculture in Thailand is booming because government is supporting the farmers.
Yeah.
Imagine, kitanaw na ko, there was an issue then because I think the country was only appropriating around 60 billion peso annually, and Thailand was giving their budgeting around 400 billion pesos in peso for agriculture because they want to subsidize the farmers. Because at the end of the day, we cannot have food in our table unless otherwise we support the farmers.
Okay.
Mayo tong imong gisulti nga parang consolidated farming tapos yung mindset no at saka innovations, di ba? Dapat mag-innovate sila. Ang tanong ko, aside from maging agricultural hub yung Samar, may potential ba for ecotourism yung Samar tulad sa ibang area o wala dahil paragi doon bagyuhin yung area na yan?
The eastern seaboard, the Barangay side, these are gifted with good and white beaches. But problema na to is oftenly visited by typhoon. There are so many tourism hubs, but I just have to be practical. No? We have to start first from the basic, and that is agriculture. Because if you look at the priority of the Department of Tourism, they are focusing first where the market is already are.
Right.
Once they have developed that market, and once I can open up the airport of ours, because mind you, Edward, salamat ko sa gobyerno, gitagaan ko, the executive, what we call an international regional airport. So this new airport that we have here in Calbayog that can cater flights directly from the ASEAN countries. Diretso gid mo landing dire. It was just sad to note, it's not fully utilized as of the moment because why? Of the pandemic issue. The entire aviation industry, it's not only in the Philippines, it's not only in Samar, but the entire global community is suffering. There's now a reborn in the Hinay, but here comes Omicron again. So we cannot really, because my appeal to the president, which an IATF, and I know the president could have done this with that Omicron, was to open up already all sectors of transportation from the aviation, maritime, rail, and of course, land sector, 200%. But again, we just have to be careful because from Delta variant, we have Omicron, and it's something, an enemy that we don't know is coming from. So hopefully, we just have to manage it well, and we cannot just over speculate because the cost again of having reinfection, we don't know yet.
Before we end the show, I'd like to say hi to some of the summer youth scholars of I think andito shout out no, so Francis, Rolf Aquino, Merencillo, ayan, shout out to of Say Peace Movements officers and members. I think it's a local peace movement here in Samar, no. Also we have who else is watching from California? Meron move forward for the whole summer, Mr. Kenny. Who's this? Kenny Mokoro. Yan. And then, ayan, ang daming nanonood, no? Tatak Summer. Suportado ka sa Say Peace Movement ko. Si Giselle, no? So, ayan, Tatak Sarmiento, Servisyo Sigurado from Lorna, Onilde. So, maraming supporters si Kong nanonood ngayon, ha? So, thank you.
Thank you sa inyo.
So, actually, we have very, very short time, no? Ayan, ang dami. So proud of Congressman. Go, go, go. si Maria Betchabe Delgado. Before we end, no, we'd like to ask Congressman Edgar Sarmiento by for his siguro last parang statement ba?
Parting statement, parting statement.
Parting statement. Yan no, exacto, parting statement. Before we go, we still have a few minutes, but kung ano ba, what can the people, what can you say to the people of Samar, and even what's your vision for them this coming? I mean, if you're given another
Well,
term.
first off, through your show, and I thank you for
Yes,
this
you're welcome.
opportunity. First thing, Nato and Edward, I would like to greet first my constituent. I'll take this opportunity. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to them.
Thank you.
I have to tell them as well that this pandemic is not over yet. So the minimum health standard is very important, and much more our mask and the hygiene of washing our hands. Of course, ayaw gito. This, iwaray ko na to,
Yes.
ayaw kat ingalim mo ito. We have a lot of hope for this province of ours. But the only way to move forward is for us to stand united. Because for me, the office that plans of everything, it's not the congressional office, mind you, but the office of the governor. If you have a good governor, like the governor of Bohol and Cebu, they can really do something collectively. And I'm hoping this will happen to our province as well. Because again, once a good governor is there, that person as an executive can change the hope and aspiration of any province. Now in summer, I'm hoping that it can happen as well the soonest time, because time is running very fast. I believe so, a collective effort and the opportunity bestowed on individuals who has the right to vote once every 3 years. It is up to you, my dear constituents, to use and exercise that right. Choose the right leaders to run this country of ours. It's like a family. If you want it to be a successful one, the father and the mother who runs it are the most important individuals that makes a family great, same as in government.
So, well, mga kasama, kaigsuon sa entire country and even abroad, that was Congressman Edgar Sarmiento discussing with us uh, the transport, the entire transport sector, also his plans for Samar. And we'd like to thank you, Congressman
Thank you as
Sarmiento.
well, Nato, for everything. And Edward, salamat through your show. I thank you again for visiting Calbayo,
So-
giving this opportunity.
Siguro nato if all the legislators in lower house the same mind with Congressman Edgar Sarmiento, no, this country will easily or fast in the right direction. Siguro mas malambuon og mauswagon nga madali ang atong nasod kung pariha niya og mindset, no, sa governance o sa paghimo og mga proyekto alang sa kinabag-an sa mga Pilipino sa atong nasod. Salamat
Thank you
kayo,
for the kind word,
Congressman.
Edward. Salamat.
Right. So, thank you very much sa ating mga viewers from Visayas, Mindanao, and Luzon, sa ating mga students, scholars here in Samar. And we're happy to have this the first time live
Yan.
sa sa mismong place. Usually we are just via virtual
Yeah.
lang tayo. Ngayon we are live here in Calbayog City with Congressman Edgar Sarmiento. So
I hope I can visit sa lugar mismo
Please,
ni
Lord,
Congressman.
surid po diri sa Mua, sa siyudad sa
Thank you.
Calbayog. It's a very peaceful place, mind you. Ay mo
Thank you.
kadlok ang istorya nga, tagan, it's a very peaceful place.
pa-boxing tayo dito, bay.
Wow. Okay
Ikaw
kayo.
mag-judge. Alright, so sa mga kasama natin sa Political Officers League of the Philippines sa buong Pilipinas, maraming salamat po. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Maligayang Pasko from Calbayog City here in Samar. Signing off with Congressman Edgar Sarmiento. Maraming salamat po. God bless you all. Bye. Mayang gabi. Bye.
May gabi.
Good night.